Good morning. Our gathering song for this morning is hymn number 1017, Building a New Way, the first two verses. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Society. We are grateful to gather on this beautiful morning, both in person and online, for a time of inspiration, reflection, and connection. Whether you join us today with joy in your heart, weighted with burdens, or searching for meaningful connections, we are glad that you are here. And I am glad to see so many of you, even on a holiday weekend. I'm the Reverend Diana Smith, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm wearing a black suit, a stole with many multicolored hands, and I'm standing in UUS's pulpit at the front of our sanctuary. This room and the adjoining commons are filled with people of all ages, and through the window walls of our sanctuary, we connect with the natural world around us, where it was a rainy night. It's a morning that follows that kind of morning that follows a rainy night, where we can just feel the moisture in the air, right? Oof. As people of many ages, genders, races, sexual orientations, classes, abilities, and health statuses, we know how important it is to come together and work together to create a radically welcoming spiritual community. And this morning, we give a special welcome to folks who are joining us online from Unitarian Universalist congregations in Ames and Dubuque as part of our July UU Worship Service Co-op. Hi, Ames and Dubuque folks. Hey. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith expresses our core value of love through how we agree to be together and to support each other. We're guided by the shared principles, sources, and values of our living religious tradition. And this morning, as we mark both the International Day of Compassion, which you'll hear about shortly, and the United States Independence Day, we have a chance to explore our Unitarian Universalist values of interdependence, pluralism, and transformation. As we gather, we always begin by giving thanks for this land and all who have cared for it over the centuries. Today, as we mark a series of days that call us into awareness of interdependence, pluralism, compassion, transformation, and the history of this country, it feels particularly important to more fully notice the long legacy of history, legacy of people who have cared for this land, as well as the terrible conflicts that have ensued as one group of people sought to take ownership of it from the others. And so let's remember that the Kickapoo, the Iowa, the Sauk, and the Meskwaki, and the Oceti-Shakawan nations stewarded and shared this land of prairies, woodlands, creeks, and rivers for many generations. They did this until they were violently forced from this area by our government and military seeking to expand the new country of America and dehumanizing indigenous people and committing genocide to do so. Many newcomers then sought to create new homes and lives here, many of them seeking a place where they could be free of oppressions that they had encountered in other places. It's a terrible history and an irony, and one that we must remember and to continue to discern how to reckon with. It's also important to notice the more recent history of people working to be good stewards of this land and honor the many species that call it home. That led to the land that we are here on today, remaining a diverse and sustainable farm for many generations until our congregation came to call it home. Here, we continue to care for this land, steward native plants, and honor and coexist with the many diverse species that call it home. It is good to be here, together, on this land today. It is good to give thanks for it, even as, and perhaps especially as, we remember the complex and difficult history of this country and this land. So let's pause and begin our service with gratitude for being here at UUS in Coralville and in the diverse places from which our online folks are joining us. Let's pause and think of how we are grateful for this land. Thank you. If doing something with your hands during worship services helps you, we invite you to visit our soul work table outside the sanctuary doors and pick up something to work with. We also hope that those who need to move their bodies will feel free to do so during this service. If you're newer to this congregation, we invite you to learn more about us after the service. For those who are here in person, you can talk to a greeter in the atrium. And for those of you who are online, there's a link to a visitor form in our YouTube show notes that will let us connect with you.
Our opening hymn for this morning is number 298, Wake Now My Senses. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all.
I'm Alan Swanson, a worship associate. I'm 81 today. And I have horn rim glasses and all tan and not black. As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice of us as a symbol of sanctuary and safety, to unite us in our worship and to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth. Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words as Zoe lights our chalice. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the wonder and mystery of this great gift. So let us now kindle the flame of our liberal religious heritage and renew our covenant of mutual love and care. Love is our doctrine, the quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and truth, and to serve those in need. We promise. This we say. Each week we light a candle for justice and healing, to acknowledge our interdependence with the natural world and with all the members of the global community, especially the most vulnerable. We light this candle so that we may not be numbed to injustice and trauma, but rather find strength, courage, and love as we work in solidarity with others for liberation, justice, and healing. Together we create resilience and hope. Today, as we light this candle, we're particularly mindful of the fear and the pain we experience in this threatening environment. Our faith of love and justice is tested. May we remain strong and resilient, ready to act as calls for help are clearly before us. As I light this candle, let's hold a time of silence to listen to our hearts and our bodies, or perhaps to lift up prayers.
Good morning. Bear with me while I make a couple of adjustments based on who my volunteers were today. Thank you. My name is Nick Kaplan. I'll move over there in just a second, but I want to give people a little idea of what's going to go on, because I have several volunteers today who are going to help me out. As I said, my name is Nick Kaplan. My pronouns are they, them. I am the grateful director of Lifespan Religious Education here at UUS. I'm a non-binary person whose octopus tattoo is showing today, so I've had lots of questions already about that. But I have volunteers. I'm going to invite those people with the colorful scarves and paper to go ahead and come over toward the ramp. In a moment, they'll speak and then join together in front of the chancel. I am a non-binary person who is not quite as tall as Alan and Reverend Diana and Art. Yes, thank you. Since I don't have any smaller volunteers today, I get to use the stool. Thanks, Reverend Diana. Once upon a time, there were 7 colors. They were all perfectly happy living by themselves. And actually, they didn't really think much of any of the other colors. Each of these colors had their own names. 6 of the names were pretty easy. There was red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. The last one was called, any guesses? I heard it somewhere, indigo. Now, each of these colors thought they were just great. Whenever they came near to each other, they quarreled about which was the most important color. Green spoke first.
Well, duh. I'm the most important color. I'm the color of life and hope. I'm the color of grass and trees and new beginnings. I'm the color of the whole countryside. I'm the most important color.
Down front. Down front. Then Blue had something to say.
That's nonsense. I'm far more important. I am the color of the sky and the water, and without water, everything will die. I'm the most important color.
Yellow had something to say about that.
You are all so serious? I'm the color of fun and laughter and giggling. I'm the color of sunflowers and the sun and the moon. I make people smile. It's so obvious. I'm definitely the most important color.
Indigo wasn't particularly thrilled with that and had something to say.
No. I am subtle. I'm the color of peace and reflection and silence and thoughtfulness. If it wasn't for me, you'd all go mad with busyness. I'm the most important color.
Purple spoke next.
I beg your pardon. I am the color of kings and important things, and majesty and ceremonies and royalty. People listen to what I think. I'm the most important color.
Orange disagreed.
You're all wrong. I am the color of lots of fruits and vegetables, and that's where you get your vitamins from. I'm healthy and cheerful. I'm the color of sunrise. Without this orange sunrise, you would always be in the nighttime. I am the most important color.
Red came forward and said,
You are all so foolish. I am the color of blood, and blood gives us life. I'm the color of danger and warning and road safety and fighting and force. I am definitely the most important color.
and then it started to rain. The colors were freaked out. They started to panic and run around, and their colors got all mixed together. You know what happens when colors get all mixed together. They can end up looking so much less nice than they did before. But then the rain spoke to them.
You silly, silly things. Stop fighting. Stop trying to make yourself sound more important than each other. You are all designed for different things, and you're all needed for your own purposes. If you work together, you won't need to be that muddy brown color. If you work together, you can make a rainbow.
And from now on, the colors stopped squabbling. They started working together to make that rainbow the rain just mentioned, where they went from red and then orange to yellow to green. Sometimes we need help working together. Who needs some help to work together? Do you ever need help to work with other people? Me too. Yeah. All right. So they worked together, and every so often, when it rains on a sunny day, they got together to make a beautiful display in the sky to remind everyone about peace and cooperation. Thank you, helpers. I really appreciated your storytelling. Each week, when our children, youth, and teachers head to class, they light a lantern as a symbol of the love and hope that goes with them as they explore our faith. Children, youth, teachers, anyone who wants to go outside for religious education, please come forward as Jan and I light our lantern from our chalice, and we can all join in singing "Be Open" as we head to class.
Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Aye, 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 aye.
Our congregation comprises a diverse group of people and communities. We gather in many ways to learn, sing, laugh, share meals, try things, and help repair our beautiful broken world. Together, we create a community that nurtures us as we seek to live love more fully and fiercely into this world. This morning, I'm happy to welcome David Quigg and Judy Levitt of the UU Buddhist Sangha to give us their thoughts.
Namaste. Could I have the slide, please? On the monitor is a man named Tenzin Gyatso. He was born on July 6th, today, 1935, on a rural farm in eastern Tibet. Mike, okay. At the age of 2, he was recognized as the reincarnation of the 13th Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lamas are believed to be, by Tibetan Buddhists, to be the manifestation of Avalokiteshvara, who is in Tibetan is Chenrezig. And he is the Bodhisattva of compassion and the patron saint or protector of Tibet. Tibetans believe the Dalai Lama is the incarnate embodiment of compassion, and he is their protector. In Buddhism, compassion is the wish for all beings to be free from suffering and its causes. It's a fundamental aspect and the heart of our spiritual practice. Compassion extends beyond just mere sympathy or empathy with others. It embodies an active desire to help alleviate the suffering of all sentient beings. We're here to ask you today, on the 90th birthday of the 14th Dalai Lama, a day of compassion, and help us, along with the International Campaign of Tibet, to enlist the U.S. Congress to recognize this date, July 6th, as a day of compassion.
Namaste. Matching bipartisan resolutions in the U.S. House and Senate recognize the Dalai Lama's birthday today, July 6, 2025, as a day of compassion. The resolution recognizes the 14th Dalai Lama's outstanding contributions to peace, nonviolence, human rights, and mutual respect within and across faiths for more than 7 decades. The resolution also affirms the Tibetan people's human rights and fundamental freedoms, and reiterates that any attempt by the People's Republic of China to interfere in the recognition of the 15th Dalai Lama would violate the religious freedom of Tibetan Buddhists. Tomorrow, July 7th, the UUS Buddhist Sangha will gather to honor the Dalai Lama's 90th birthday by viewing the 1997 film Kundun, the story of the Dalai Lama's life from 1937 to 1959, when he fled the communist rule in Tibet and established a home with Tibetan refugees in Dharamsala in northern India. We invite you to join us for this beautiful film directed by Martin Scorsese with music composed by Philip Glass. We'll show the 2-hour film in the Oak and Hickory rooms right over here at UUS starting at 1:30 p.m. tomorrow. We'll also enjoy some tea and treats and conversation during the film. So please see us after the service in the fellowship hall to RSVP for the screening.
And to commemorate the Day of Compassion, the Tibetan Handicraft Center has a gift for each of you, a wind horse prayer flag. Tibetans believe if you hang a prayer flag in the wind, the prayer will be carried across the earth to all beings. And you can pick up a prayer flag. At our table back here, we have one or more for each of you. And this is Tukjiche, which is Tibetan for thank you.
Namaste.
How we give, what we do with our lives and our time and our resources is a reflection of our values. In response to the abundance we are blessed with, every week this congregation donates generously to organizations in the community whose work aligns with our values and principles. Our community partner agency this month is the Domestic Violence Intervention Program, DVIP and RVAP, Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Crisis Services, supports victims and survivors of domestic violence, sexual violence, dating violence, stalking, and human trafficking. They provide free and confidential crisis intervention services through a 24-hour hotline and safe shelter, advocacy with law enforcement, courts, medical and social services, counseling and support groups, housing services, youth support services, volunteer opportunities, and community education. In the sanctuary, the ushers will collect the offering. All cash contributions go directly to our community partner agency and the community common fund. You can follow the instructions on the screen to give online. If you're writing a check, please use the memo line to designate the purpose. In addition to assisting to our community partner, you may contribute to your pledge, or make a gift to support our operating expenses. The offering is a sign of commitment to this free congregation, which is completely supported by the generosity of all who join us here. As we give and receive the offering, may we be transformed by our giving, and may the world be transformed by our gifts. Let America Be America Again, a poem written in 1935 by American poet Langston Hughes, speaks of the American dream that never existed for the lower class American and the freedom and equality that every immigrant hoped for but never received. In his poem, Hughes represents not only African Americans, but also other economically disadvantaged and minority groups. He wrote, "Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free. America was never America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that strong land of love where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no fake patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark, and who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor, white, fooled, and pushed apart. I am the black man bearing slavery scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. I'm the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I'm the worker sold to the machine. I am the black man, servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean, hungry yet today despite the dream. Beaten yet today, oh pioneers, I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker bartered through the years, yet I'm the one who dreamt of our basic dream in the old world while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings in every brick and stone, in every furrow turn. That made America the land it has become. Oh, I'm the man who sailed these early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. For I'm the one who left dark Ireland's shore and Poland's plain and England's grassy lea, and torn from black Africa's strand, I came to build a homeland of the free. The free? Who said the free? Not me. Surely not me. The millions on relief today, the millions shot down when we strike, the millions who have nothing for our pay, for all the dreams we've dreamed and all the songs we've sung and all the hopes we've held, all the flags we've hung, the millions who have nothing for our pay except the dream that's almost dead today. Oh, let America again, the land that never has yet been and yet must be, the land where every man is free, the land that's mine, the poor man's, Indian's, black man's, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand the foundry, whose plow the rain, must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain from those who live like leeches on the people's lives. We must take back our land again. America. Oh yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me, and yet I swear this oath, America will be. Out of the wreck and ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot of graft and stealth and lies, we the people must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains, the endless plain. All stretch of these great green states and make America again.
Hello, my name is Art Baraka. I'm a shadow worship associate. I'm a white man in his 60s, wearing a blue and white striped shirt. I use he, him pronouns. This reading is The Limits of Tyrants by Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was an escaped slave, a leader of the anti-slavery movement, and after the Civil War, a diplomat for the U.S. government. This reading is from an address he gave on West India emancipation on August 4th, 1857. In the address, he reminded West Indian slaves of their crucial role in the struggle for liberation, and he sounded a foretelling of the coming Civil War in the United States. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are people who want crops without plowing up the ground.
They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its waters.
This struggle may be a moral one, or it may be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle.
Power concedes nothing without demand. It never did, and it never will.
Find out what people will submit to, and you have found out the exact amount of injustice which will be imposed upon them.
The limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress.
Now I invite you into a time of meditation, contemplation, and prayer. I invite you to join me in a Buddhist metta meditation. In this tradition, we start with ourselves. We start by wishing goodwill to ourselves, and then we move out in successive circles. Listen and join me in your mind in these words. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be safe. May I be peaceful and at ease. I invite you to think of someone you love. Maybe someone gathered in space with you today. I invite you to repeat after me in your mind or aloud. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you be peaceful and at ease. I invite you to think of someone you care about who is distant from you, in space or in circumstance. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you be peaceful and at ease. And now, as Kendra plays, I invite you to extend this into the wider world, to people you think of as your friends and people you think of as your enemies. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you be peaceful and at ease. The words of Frederick Douglass and Langston Hughes, written about 90 and 170 years ago, still ring true today as we seek to understand and create what this country is and can be, as we seek to make real the dream of an America that never was, and yet that we all hold so dear. There are many ways of understanding where we are today. One thing that many of us are reckoning with is that, as many scholars of democracy and politics have noted, in our democracy, many of the protections against tyranny, authority, autocracy, and white Christian nationalism are as much protections of custom and good behavior as they are written explicitly in our laws. In other words, we're finding that our laws do not protect us as much from growing authoritarianism as many of us had thought they did. Our country relies on certain standards of behavior and a valuing of pluralism, checks and balances, and democracy that can be and are being eroded quite quickly. And so, we are descending along the slide into authoritarianism much faster than many of us thought we would. On this slide, there are things that we can do. There are still things that our values tell us we must do. But first, let's talk a little bit more about where we are today. And so we need to talk about words. You can read a little bit more about these. You can read a lot more about these in the resources in today's bibliography. But briefly, authoritarianism is when the authority, the power in a nation, is with an individual leader rather than with the Constitution or laws. The leader, the strong man, as it often is, does not adhere to boundaries. The checks and balances of courts and the legislative branch are neutralized to either bend to the will of the leader, to move in accordance with leaders' wishes, or they are eliminated completely. And the power of the leader, the head of state, the executive office, expands until the leader becomes a dictator or an autocrat. In an autocracy, the head of state holds ultimate power. Another important concept today is nationalism. As Ronald Tiersky of Amherst College writes, nationalism is patriotism transformed into a sentiment of superiority and aggression toward other countries. Nationalism is the poisonous idea that one's country is superior to somebody else's. Nationalism is intrinsically a cause of war and imperialism. And then there's white Christian nationalism. That is a political ideology that says that our country was created by and exists to benefit white Christians. It promotes the idea that to be a true American, you must be a Christian, and particularly a conservative Christian with a certain political agenda. It perpetuates the myth that the United States was ordained by God as a Christian nation, that God finds a certain type of white Christian superior. White Christian nationalists believe that they are a superior group in a superior country. And so the adherents of this ideology promote homophobia, transphobia, racism, religious bigotry and hate, xenophobia, and misogyny. In recent years, we've seen conservatives particularly use two of these to activate certain segments of their political base, to sow enough confusion that other folks either vote with their political party or just stay home from the polls, and to justify activating crackdowns and militarized responses. The first one of these is transphobia. As many scholars have noted, It is no accident that the percentage of Jews in Germany in 1933 is about the same as the percentage of trans adults in the US today. That is a little less than 1% of the overall population. Let me repeat that. Trans adults are a little less than 1% of our population. It's easy to imagine that that figure is much, much bigger than it is, both because we are in a UU congregation that, even though we still have a lot of work to do on inclusion and radical welcome, is much more welcoming than our culture at large. And it is also easy to imagine that that figure is bigger than it is because of a concerted campaign by the Heritage Foundation and other conservative groups to weaponize transgender issues and transphobia. As Amara Jones, who gave the Ware Lecture at our recent General Assembly of Unitarian Universalist Congregations, explained in great detail, there has been a concerted campaign to use gender and specifically ignorance and fear of transgender people to divide us for about the last 10 years. The Heritage Foundation found that transphobia was an issue that, particularly due to the small numbers of trans people and lack of regular close contact with trans people in our larger society, as well as underlying prejudice, could be inflamed to gain political power. It's a terrible story, an evil one where some people are intentionally dehumanizing others and intentionally creating dangerous situations and discriminatory and oppressive laws for their own gain. One where so many, even in our own communities, are falling victim to concerted disinformation campaigns. Imara Jones and other folks' stories and analysis of how we got here and what we can do are compelling even as they're deeply disturbing. I hope that you'll watch her talk when we're able to show it at UUS in the coming months, and that, if you haven't yet, you'll take the Trans Inclusion in Congregations and the Responding to the Anti-Trans Movement classes. Reach out to our Director of Lifespan Religious Education to find out how. And then there's a second type of hate we need to talk about right now. And that is racism and xenophobia. Now, these obviously have long, deep histories in this country, ones that are so long and so deep that it is far too easy to overlook the crucial importance of continuing to actively work to dismantle them and work for true equity and pluralism. We see racism in how easy it has been for legislatures and school boards, and now the executive branch of our national government, to rewrite what history can be taught and even spoken in our schools and even our national parks and museums. The racism and xenophobia that have shaped this country from the beginning, our laws, our policies, our basic structures, created the conditions where Congress just adopted and the president passed. The president signed a budget where more harmful impacts will fall more heavily on people who are Black, brown, indigenous, who are at risk of deportation, who are poor, who are disabled, and who are trans. At our state level, they have created conditions where we are doing very similar things in Iowa. And they create conditions where the ongoing terrors of over-policing and racist responses in Black, brown, and indigenous communities almost disappears from the popular awareness. Where it is far too easy to mobilize militarized police responses to protests against racism, and where people both with and without immigration papers are being rounded up, put into inhumane conditions, and deported to countries where they may not have ties. These are all not simply evils, but are part of a path that is leading us further into authoritarianism. So what do we do? Do we succumb to complacency? Do we trust to whatever privileges some of us have to protect us? I hope that despite the stunned silence, the answer is no, right? Okay, good. My time today is growing very short, so I'm going to talk more about how we meet this moment next week in part 2 of this short sermon series. But I know that I can't leave you right now or myself without something. Yes, don't worry. So I want to highlight a few specific things that scholars on authoritarianism have lifted up as crucial in these times. The first is voting. It is absolutely crucial that we protect access to voting, that we vote, and that we help others vote. That last one becomes more and more important in states like Iowa, where we are trying to limit access to the vote. While the actions of some of our elected officials are symptoms of underlying problems in this country, they are also undoubtedly deepening our slide into authoritarianism and white Christian nationalism. And so it is crucial that we protect elections and that we vote. There's work we can do now, as well as in a year and 3 years. The next thing is talking about what's happening and helping ourselves and others maintain a sense of what normal political discourse and action looks like in a healthy, pluralistic democracy. Because one of the key tools of authoritarianism, white Christian nationalism, and fascism is shifting what the so-called Overton window of acceptable public opinion, speech, and action are into areas that further normalize discrimination, hate, scapegoating, and authoritarianism, that make racialized asylum policies, mass deportations, transphobia, discriminatory healthcare and education, and erasing history, all things that were once unthinkable, more acceptable to the American public, to us. We need to help ourselves and each other remember the compassion, the humanity, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and live compassion. We need to help ourselves and each other remember what normal checks and balances on power look like and how the norms of 200 years are quickly eroding. We need to talk about what corruption looks like. We need to remember that while some things look like they're adhering to the letter of the law, they're actually fundamentally at odds with the spirit of transparency, accountability, and popular representation. And we need to work together to create trust in how healthy democracies function. Third, we need to create coalitions. So just to recap, 1, vote, the vote, protect the vote. 2, work on normalizing what's normal and not letting that shift. 3, create coalitions. We need to mobilize ourselves as part of a network of congregations and other groups that are committed to interdependence, pluralism, equity, and compassion. We know that we are stronger together, so we need to build on that. As we do that, we need to remember that joy and rest and spiritual practices and sustenance are also part of resistance. We are a long-haul people, and we are here to do long-haul work. And so we must cultivate joy, celebration, appreciation, rest, and other spiritual practices that nourish our bodies, minds, hearts, and spirits. But more about that next week. We're going to get there, folks. We're going to get there. And one way of having our sustenance is also getting our coffee hour. So you're going to get there before too long. But for now, I will leave you with the words of Czech dissident, playwright, and politician Václav Havel, who, in Disturbing the Peace, wrote, "Hope is definitely not the same thing as optimism. It is not the conviction that something will turn out well, but the certainty that something makes sense regardless of how it turns out. May we be certain, deep in our bones, that working to make America the place, the dream that it never yet has been, is something that makes sense, regardless of how it turns out. And may we act accordingly in all the days that are to come. So may it be. Blessed be. Amen.
May what has been shared today help us more fully affirm our interconnection and live into love and justice. Immediately after the service, we gather in the fellowship hall for outside for conversation and community. If you're a newcomer, we hope you'll grab a snack and then sit at any table so folks can join you for some conversation.
Hymn for this morning is number 159, This Is My Song. Please rise in body or in spirit.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine.
Please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again.
As you go out into the world this day and this week, may you go singing a song and dreaming a dream of peace, compassion, and loving kindness, and may you make those things real by your actions as well as your words. Go in peace, love, and justice, living love ever more fully and fiercely into this world. Amen. Blessed, blessed be.